Welcome back to another episode of Post-Fades and Depression, brought to you by
Yeah.
the Philadelphia Eagles. Special thank you to Brian Johnson and James Bradbury. Oh boy, Philadelphia. What are we doing? What do we do?
Mm,
I don't even know how to start this. Like it's just what a train
we're
wreck.
pissed. We're pissed. That's what it really
Pissed,
comes down to. I like
disappointed.
I have my confidence is non-existent anymore. Like we talked about this. Like, listen, you got the crap kicked out of you by the Niners. You didn't respond at all to your division rival, and the
No.
Cowboys went and just destroyed you again. And I get it was in Seattle, but you're on national TV, you coming off two brutal beatdowns. Dallas lost, you controlled your destiny division, and you can't get up for that game. I'm dumbfounded how a team with Drew Lock and missing their majority of their defensive players managed to beat you in a 20 to what, 2017 game, I think it was the final score.
Yeah, I mean they had it and they just fucking couldn't pile any more points on. Like I just
They it's I don't get because the first drive they came out, they went the whole field, they scored. The play calling actually looked pretty good. They were
yeah,
getting the ball
first
out
half.
quick, they were running the ball, which was nice. And like everything seemed different. Everything seemed to breathe some new life into it. And then it was like immediately after that, we went right back to the same pain that we're used to. The play calling went back to shit. We ran like six more screen passes for Devontae Smith set up as the lead blocker. Jalen was doing quarterback draws in 3rd and 7. We would
I
drive the
hated
whole
that.
field
I
and then
hated that
suddenly have a
shit.
desire to throw the ball 50 yards downfield. None of it makes sense. Like, why don't you just stick to what you were good at? I don't get it. I can't fathom it.
I will say also we have not to cut anyone off. Big Mike has joined us. He's been on the pod a couple times. He wanted to vent his Eagles frustrations. So thank you, Mike, for joining us. What are your thoughts off of what Tim just said and kind of your overall feelings?
I don't know, man. It's hard. It's hard because I hate the stereotypical Eagles fans. It makes it hard to root for this. It has made it hard to root for this franchise in the past.
Hmm.
And the team hasn't been doing so good and the solution is always fire everyone, right? And then
Mm.
last night I'm just like, would it be the worst thing to just fire everyone,
See,
honestly?
you've
You
been
know?
great.
But it's just like then I got back to earth a little bit. I watched the game, I listened to some podcasts, I rewatched the game, I rewatched some highlights
Hmm.
to kind of like analyze film, if you will. And I'm
Couldn't
just
do it.
I'm just so dumbfounded by how bad the play calling has been for this team. And
Yeah,
then the
Awful.
whole Desai situation and Matt Patricia, we'll get into that in a bit, but I'm just like, man, if the Eagles go out there and just put up a stinker defensively, everybody's going to be talking about that. And not only did they put up a stinker defensively for the second half, the first half was okay, but that last drive
hmm
was just awful. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't
Hmm.
understand how you let Drew Lock from the 8-yard line go 10 plays for 92 yards with one timeout. The Seahawks botched both timeouts, which was hilarious, by the way, how Pete Carroll was
That
Yeah.
like,
was
"Hey man,
fantastic.
Yeah,
can I just
yeah,
get that one
give me my
back?"
timeout back. Like, bro, what? I know you're a little
Like
old. You might be a little senile, but come on now.
How
when
quickly we
he
forgot it. We were like laughing at our TV, and then 10 minutes later, it's pain and
Oh
sorrow.
man. Oh man.
Yeah. And I'm just like, "Hey, we're probably going to win this game because the clock management right now is terrible." And lo and behold, puts on Drew Lock and DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf just torches Bradbury, and Bradbury gets torched again by Jackson Smith and Jigba for a 27
Hmm.
yard touchdown, which was just, I mean, credit to Drew Lock. It was a great throw, great catch by Jackson. But what was James Bradbury doing, man? He looks so slow. He looks so bad out there. He can't
So
do
bad.
shit
He
without
aged like
holding
50
people.
years in one season. I don't
It's
understand.
crazy.
He's
I just
brutal, man.
I don't understand.
so yeah, those are just my initial thoughts. My confidence level with this team is very low. If we go into the playoffs as the fifth seed, there's I just absolutely no way that we're gonna make it past the game with the Niners because I think we go to Tampa, assuming that Tampa maintains the fourth seed, which it looks like they're going to because the South is just terrible unless the Saints can turn this around. And then it would be the Niners. We get the one seed because I don't see them losing another game.
Yeah,
And
no.
I see them
No.
losing to the Ravens, possibly. But after the Ravens, I don't see them losing to anyone else.
No.
And that was our one chance. If we
Yep.
won last night
Yep.
and the Niners dropped the game to the Ravens, I was going to, first of all, if we won last night, I was going to be the biggest Ravens fan on Monday for
Oh, of
Christmas Day,
course.
because I'd
Yeah.
be every Eagles fan
Yeah.
would be rooting for the Ravens. But now it just doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Now it's like
Mhm.
the Niners, barring miracle, have secured the 1 seed, and we are now fighting for the NFC East.
I mean,
So hopefully Dallas drops one more. They have a tough schedule, so we have a chance. But man,
I could see Dallas dropping another one. The problem is though, like you have this split with the Giants, and I don't like it. I really don't like it. I think you're going to drop
no.
one of them. You play them so close. The Giants have new life. You are looking rough. I mean, it's just what do you do?
can't be this week's. If they drop this week, we're
This is going to be the
first round
biggest
exit.
disappointment since the Grinch came around and took all of Whoville's presents.
No,
We're talking about like
Whoville.
this Christmas is going to be rough. I'm already setting myself up mentally for it because they just look dead in the water. They're rough. It's a weird position too. Like the big shakeup. Desai gets pulled from defense coordinator.
Mhm.
Now, quick question to both of you. Does Sirianni do that without having Patricia on the staff? Because I mean, I forgot Patricia was on the staff, but he's
Probably
been
not.
in DC forever. He's been a head coach. You probably lean on him because I guess he's there. He can do it, but I don't know. It still seemed kind of
Well,
surprising, especially because
the reports were weird because it sounded like Desai was just like kicked to the side, and then ESPN reported like during Monday Night Football like countdown or whatever right before the game that like Sirianni told Desai and Patricia like Patricia's gonna call the plays, but you're like Desai is still the defensive coordinator. So I guess they had a lot of they talked to each other during the game or something and like
I mean,
collaborate on the play
he's in
calling,
the
but like it's
box. I mean,
still weird.
they're not
I
gonna
don't know.
completely rule him out. This sounds like what Belichick had last year with the co-offensive coordinators
What
between like it was his son and Matt Patricia or whatever ridiculous thing they were running.
this team makes no sense to me because they controlled that game for 58 minutes. That was all Eagles. But they
Mhm.
couldn't put the Seahawks away. They could not score. They could not pound touchdowns. They cannot, up the ante. I just don't know why. And then on the flip side, when they're losing, they're able to pull these fucking points out of their pocket, obviously before the losing streak. But they were able to come back and put up 30, 40 points on teams
This has
in
been
the
them
second
all
half.
year.
I'm like,
It's
where's the consistency? Like it drives me insane. It just a team this talented cannot be this bad. Like Mike and I were talking before the game and on Monday, and I was like, he was kind of more like, my jump ship. I'm not feeling it. They're already kind of tail between their legs, and I was like, I don't know. Like they'll figure it out. I feel good about this. It's Seattle's tough. It'll be a good challenge for them. But they didn't show us really any promise. They just held the
they
lead
did
for most of
nothing.
the game and then
No, but they were
lost.
doing that before. But they were just pulling out wins. They remind
Yeah.
you a lot of the Vikings last year. They were every game was close,
Yes.
but they were
Yeah.
managing to win
I
more
hate
of
to
the
say
one
that,
score
but
games.
yeah.
It's just, but like, nothing has changed.
Mm-mm.
It's the same problems you had in week 1 and 2. The play calling is trash. The defense is underperforming. I mean, Desai, I'm not going to fight for his job, but I think defensively it's more of a personnel issue. Like Bradbury is
That's what I said.
terrible. He's just getting killed. Like, are you really going to
Uh,
blame that on Patricia or Desai that James Bradbury is getting burned by every wide receiver on the Seahawks? That they
I
are just
mean,
finding him.
you
They're just
have
putting whoever it is. It doesn't matter what lineup you're on. It's not like they just stuck Bradbury on an island. He could not cover anyone. There was no way of hiding him.
I mean,
He's so brutal.
our good linebackers are always injured. Our bad linebackers are really bad.
Oh yeah, they couldn't tackle us to it. Actually, Morrow had a hell of a game. He played really well.
I
Morrow
don't
played
like
well.
Morrow. I don't like
He
Morrow.
after I mean he
I
had
don't
a
like him either.
brutal two
He
weeks,
played
but
well.
he came out and played well this week. But again, that's
He
another
did.
thing. Like Morrow's in position the last 2 weeks, they're in position to tackle. They had a bunch of blown tackles against Kenneth Walker. Like, what do you
Yeah.
want them to do?
I
That
just
isn't coaching's fault.
and like
Yeah.
I loved what I was seeing from Sidney Brown until he got to the ball carrier and wasn't wrapping up, or it was not breaking down to make the tackle, or he went like I get it's in the heat of the moment, but on that deep throw to Metcalf, I mean Bradbury had caught up to him, and so like that was just a good throw, and Metcalf was going to catch that, but Sidney Brown instead of trying to like get his hand up in there and try to deflect it, he tried to like hit Metcalf instead. He just lowered his shoulder, arms were on the ground. I'm like, you are not gonna smack DK Metcalf and make him lose the ball. You need to go for
No.
that ball.
You're
So
a big
Yeah.
surprise.
he's a rookie. You know, I'm hoping he'll learn this. I'm hoping he'll fix some stuff up. But the energy was there. I loved how much he was
I
flying around the
think
ball.
I think
Kevin
he
Byard,
I
I don't
think
know
he
where the fuck
has
he is. It's pissing me off. I
Well, I mean,
really,
those
really
are your
like him.
problem. I mean, you can live with the mistakes that
Oh
Rick's,
man.
Ringo, or Brown's going to make, but what the hell was the point of getting Byard? Byard's looking more like Robert Quinn than he is this superstar. He's more looking like this big name acquisition we
I don't
made. We thought how was a
uh
genius. He gives you nothing.
I
James
don't know what's
Bradbury,
going
man,
on.
you spent some good money on. I think we're starting to realize that there was no market for Bradbury. Maybe we gave Howie a little bit too much credit for managing to pull that off. Maybe no one was interested in bringing him back, and we're finding out slowly why that was the case because this dude is rough. He
I don't
I
know.
sucks.
agree.
And he
I
was
agree.
can't
like he
I can't
was
fathom how you keep him on the field.
what
He
sucked too is
sucks.
like I was gonna say like into the going into the fourth quarter, like Bradbury's been looking like he's been clean, he's been fine, he hasn't given up any plays really. And then that last drive, he just crumbled. Like he just folded like a fucking chair. Now granted, I think that was a bull. There were two really bad penalties. Like, look, the Eagles should have blown out the Seahawks. So I'm not gonna say that penalties cost them the game, but the Quez interception, that was pass interference. I don't know how the fuck they didn't call that.
That was a bad call. That was a
And
bad no call.
then and then the Bradbury on DK Metcalf, that was also they're fucking fighting for the position. Like, come on. Metcalf is
It
a
was weak.
fucking wrestler. Like, I just
It was
Yeah, but
weak.
that's
frustrating. And he should
Bradbury,
have had
man.
that that
He has
interception.
to grab everyone. He's going to
Yeah,
get
He
some. He's going
has
to get.
to.
He's not.
he's
That's all his
slow.
game
He's
is.
too slow.
Imagine how bad it would be if he didn't grab people. Like there's going to be plenty of calls
I
they
did
miss.
I did see what I liked from Ringo though. I don't think he gave up a catch really.
He had no
He's
targets all night. I
Yeah,
mean,
he
they
looked
didn't have to worry about
he
him
was
because they
solid.
had
I was happy
they
with
were too
that.
busy
freaking
torching
Bradbury.
Bradbury. Yeah, it's defensively. It's such a personnel mistake. Like especially with our where's our pass rush? Why can't we
I
get
don't yeah,
after
I don't
anyone?
Dude,
it's got to be game
that's.
planning. Like I just think teams are just getting the ball out way fast, and the Eagles just can't
But I just
cover in
don't.
time. I just don't know.
My problem with that is that we've invested. If you look at the pass rush, if you look at the front, the defensive front, we've invested so many resources into that defensive front for them to not
Yeah,
be performing the way that they're supposed to be. I mean, you went out and you extended Hassan Reddick, you drafted Jalen Carter, you cut Derek Barnett, and then we traded Street,
Hmm.
and we have Milton Williams still. Moro Jomo played last night. Did you guys notice that?
I did not.
I
I haven't seen him. Yeah, I haven't seen him play all year. That was pretty fun. I think he only had like 4 or 5 snaps.
And I
But
think
I was like, who's that? Is that Moro Jama?
and Nick in our group chat pointed out last night, like, where the fuck's Jordan Davis? Like,
Jordan
yeah.
Davis.
he was
Nothing.
phenomenal the first like
He
9 weeks
was.
of the season, and then he's been invisible.
especially a game like
He's
that
like
where the
700
Seahawks were
pounds. How is he
running all
invisible?
the Seahawks were running all over on you.
He's supposed to
where
be you're supposed to
Hmm.
be like somebody who's key at stopping the run. And instead, and getting to the quarterback, and instead you let Drew Lock drop back 35 times the whole game, and you only hit him 3 times.
Drew Lock.
That is
I knew when he got the ball, I was like, this motherfucker gonna drive down the field. But then
100%. He did.
like there was still confidence. I was like, Jalen, like he's sick, but like he's got that dog in him. Like he's 28 seconds, 2 timeouts. That's plenty of time to go field goal range for Jake Elliott. And I don't know if
well,
that
yeah,
was
I mean,
Jalen's
they were on
decision.
the way.
I don't even know if that
I
was his decision or if Brian Johnson called that play. But why the fuck do you throw practically a Hail Mary
A
with like
50-50 ball.
like 20 seconds left? Why are we
No
throwing
need.
You
jump
had
balls?
No
Gainwell
need.
wide open on a check
15
down. There was
yards
no
from Jake
one.
Elliott
There was
to
no one
kick a
near.
fucking 60-yarder. Like, are you
There was no one
piss me
near.
off
No one
so
near
much.
Kenneth Gainwell. There was no one near Kenneth Gainwell on that check down. If he catches that ball, he can drive down 15 yards at least, get out of bounds, and you still have timeouts left. You can set up the field goal for Elliott and go into overtime, regroup. That 50-50 ball, I understand. It's your star player, star
Yeah,
wide
but not
receiver,
there, man. Not
but
there.
not
Yeah, not
there.
there now.
Not there. Not in
We
that
saved it with the
situation.
first interception. Was like you're moving the ball fine. There's no there's no problem with what you're doing on offense. You're moving, you're killing the clock, which is exactly what we want to do now. Why are you taking this deep shot? There's just absolutely no need for it. The risk and reward is not in your favor.
And
You
I
know,
said, and I love
uh,
Hurts, and I think the progression he's shown is phenomenal. But like, his vision is still a concern to me
His
at
decision
times.
making is terrible.
It's like,
But this
if AJ
this makes
Brown's
you
not
think
open, he goes to Devontae. If he can't find Devontae, he's like, fuck, where do I go with the ball? I'm like, you gotta have a better. Maybe it's the play call,
well,
maybe the routes are ass. I don't fucking know. But
this is what I don't get
it's just
is you
not
hear
good.
about Hurts, how he's been in so many different systems all of his career, and he's finally like settling in this one. Like Brian Johnson's supposed to be continuing the system he had last year. Why does it look like Hurts is just struggling to read
This
the
doesn't
field?
look
And
anything like we did last year.
like the decision making, he had no problem. He would never take an unnecessary risk, even though
It's
catches they're making.
it's
Like
so
this
vanilla.
offense, any success you have is just an extraordinary play made by a couple of your playmakers. There's been plenty of passes that AJ Brown, Devontae Smith have come down with that should not have been thrown.
Oh no.
And it's just coming back to bite you. You can't live on this high risk offense.
Sustainable.
Did you even see the fucking video where I think it was a Seahawks running back like called out the Eagles play that they were going to run from the sideline?
Oh, CMC.
How
CMC
predictable
on the manicist. Yeah.
How predictable can we be that an offensive player is shouting out what we're going to run?
It's
Yeah, man.
because
Last year,
It's a predictable offense.
this team had like the most explosive plays over 20 yards last year. Where is any of that this year? It's nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be
everything's
found.
a hassle. Everything's difficult, and it's just painful because it doesn't change. It's the same stuff over and over and over and over again. You get a little glimpse in the game, and it's so predictable that people adjust.
First few games, DeAndre Swift was having 150 yards a clip. Then they were like, all right, now we're just gonna fucking throw it. And AJ was getting 150 a fucking game. Now they can't do either. I just don't.
Defenses are catching up to them.
I don't understand.
They're taking away these.
Unless that knee thing is bothering Jalen a lot worse.
I don't
than
think it's
think.
the knee. I don't think it's the knee at all, man. Like I said, I think it's coaching. I think it's play calling. I think it's Hurts' decision. He's uncomfortable back there. He looks uncomfortable. He looks indecisive.
He
He's
shouldn't
making
be with that
throws.
one. Like it's crazy.
And like the line is so good. They have so much talent on this team, and it's such a shame because the window's closing very fast. Like we have next year where we have all these guys still in the same building. You got Goddard, you got AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. I doubt that we have Swift again, but you still have those three key guys on offense. After that, after next season, we don't know what it's going to look like. So the window's closing very fast.
Yeah, I mean, it is because the other thing is like, sure, you want to bring up that Hurts knee injury, then why did you run him 13 times?
They're like, I don't know who.
They have such a desire. Like, Swift gave you 18 and Hurts has got 13. The guy's sick. He's got a bad knee, and you're gonna keep running him like that. Nothing they do excites me when they run Hurts. I don't see why they have to keep doing it. Then just run the ball traditionally. Their line has no problem. I mean,
and they tried to run screens and they were horrible.
Before he had the both interceptions, they were moving the ball fine. The first one actually reminded me of those drives we used to have. Well, you take the ball, drive downfield, run the ball, and then you kill the clock. They score, take the lead, and they win the game. They looked like terror, like shit the whole game, but then they would have that one drive and they would pull it out. And they looked like they were going to do that. And then a bad decision, bad play call, and it goes out the window. It's insane. Yeah. And considering an offense that takes so long for plays to develop, I don't understand why we can never do these scramble drills. You see quarterbacks all over the league. They are in sync with their wide receivers. They scramble out of the pocket, and then the wide receivers are running back to the ball, or they're just getting open spaces. We can never do that. There was multiple plays where the Seahawks were covering us for like 10 seconds, and then Jalen just throws it away. Like, how can you not get open in all this time? Like, how are we so far out of sync? Even the what do you call it? The highlight everyone's been showing on like ESPN and everything of Quez and AJ Brown on the interception, just looking like they're trying to talk about what play is about to be run. AJ doesn't run around. Quez goes deep. The interception happens. Like for week 15, it seems like this offense still has no idea what they're doing.
Yeah, and I don't even. What is the answer? Like, I can't imagine Brian Johnson is still calling plays this week. Like, there's no.
I mean,
if they were willing to demote Desai, like what?
That's the thing. It's like if not Brian Johnson, what's the next best option this late into the season?
Let's see. Sirianni has not called plays since he got here. Let's see what he's fucking got.
Responsibility.
Yeah, let's see what he's fucking got.
Dude, if you're an offensive, like if you're a head coach in your philosophy, your offense, defense, or whatever, and your coordinators struggle, I think it's a natural reaction that you take over the play calling. McCarthy did it with the Cowboys. Belichick's been doing defense play calling most of his career.
Yeah.
I just think you need to just take over. You're going to heed the responsibility. Like, do you really want the pitchforks to come at you, Sirianni, because you're sticking to Brian Johnson and his horrific play calling? Like,
Yeah,
go.
I don't think Brian Johnson's made for. He's not made to be on the sideline calling plays on Sundays
Oh
He was
God,
or
fine as a
man,
Mondays
we've
QB
or
known
coach.
this for
Thursdays.
10 weeks.
Fine
Yeah,
as
The
a
thing
QB
is, we've known
coach.
this all
and
season.
I'm just like, listen, I've been trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, but week 2, I literally said this play
Oh
calling
yeah,
is very suspect, and everybody's like,
awful.
give him a chance. I'm like, I'm telling you guys, I've been watching this team for a while now. I know what red flags look like, and this offense does not look
The
comfortable.
three of
Kurtz does
us,
not look comfortable.
the three of
No,
us could go into a restaurant, get a kids menu, and draw fucking on a napkin with crayons better fucking
Bro,
plays than Brian
third
Johnson
down,
calls.
third down, it's so predictable. You know it's
It's
either going to be a QB draw
oh
or
yeah.
it's going to be nothing. Like
the
it's a
only thing
QB
that they do
draw
right is
or
the tush push. That's the only thing we can do right.
they're going to run the
It's,
ball to try to get the 4th and short through the tush push. You're not sustainable on that kind of offense.
I did like
you
the
You
get
fake
have to
so
tush
you have to
much
push
stay away
though.
from
time.
3rd and
I
long.
like the
You have to
fake
stay away
tush
from
push
3rd and
push
long.
push.
The
You're
fake
like
tush push is
you're
awesome.
Also, how does Jason Kelsey get called for a false start? Like, what the fuck was that about?
It's just, this is the
That was
natural reaction.
fucking
This
made
is
up
why they're
rule.
calling so much offensive
Like,
offsides because they're trying to get rid of the tush push. Like you
too
see it
many
all over the
That's what I
refs.
league.
was thinking
Refs are
all last
way
night.
too
I've never
involved.
seen an offensive offsides called in my entire life. There's been like 13 of them this season. Just see it as the natural reaction to, all right, we'll take it away. The guard will
Hmm.
be lined up a little too far in these tush push. This is how we'll get them.
The refs have way too much power in this season. They said they were going to call more, but like it's not been good. It's for the game by any
Yeah.
means.
Yeah,
It's,
that was definitely a head scratcher. But what you mentioned before about the defense, not to go back to the defense, but Sidney Brown, something that I highlighted about him was the fact that I love how aggressive he is. I love how physical he is, but he
Yeah.
needs to learn to finish his tackles. He just tries to
yeah.
hit people, and that's why people break those tackles, and that's why now next thing you know, fucking Kenneth Walker is
Hmm.
15 yards upfield for a first down. You got to make those
Yeah.
tackles. You're not going to be able to big man DK Metcalf. You have to grab him and bring him down however you
Mhm.
can.
Yeah.
Keely Ringo
Well,
did look good. I like Keely. We didn't really see him getting targeted too much. I'd like to see him in situations where,
Well,
he gets the chance to get his hands on the ball a little bit and
he'll
cover
be
some receivers.
he'll probably start the rest of the season because I think Slay's not coming back to the playoffs. So
yeah, I don't know what's happening with that. Like, what we went in this week, we got rid of our defense coordinator without anyone noticing, and then Slay somehow has knee surgery. What is
Yeah.
why is Slay having knee surgery in week 15?
I think I mean, you could tell he was looking a little slow. I mean, he's always battling something for some reason. He can't stay healthy to save his life, but
I mean, he's older.
Oh,
yeah,
man. Yeah.
In his
Was this not
30s.
bothering him earlier in the season? Like, why are we having the knee surgery so close
I
to
think
the
he
end
just
of the
tried. I
season?
think he just tried to keep playing without it, and then that last game he was getting fucking cooked, and so he was like, "All right, let's do this." But
Yeah, I don't
But I
think Matt,
mean,
I don't think it's Matt Patricia. Some people were like, "Oh, Matt Patricia, he hates Matt Patricia." He's like, "I'm not playing for that fucking guy. I'm getting knee surgery."
can't be that petty.
you must really hate someone
No.
to have to like go get knee surgery.
I hate you so much. I'm gonna go
Really
get
must
knee
have to hate
surgery.
some. I'm gonna get a scalpel and they're gonna cut open my major, ligament because I hate you so much.
Wild. But
Oh
It's
man.
ugh.
I don't know, man. I guess I'll give. I mean, I appreciate the new light, the new breath. I'll ride with Patricia. I know he's
I'm fine
proven.
with it
I don't.
now. Yeah, I
Yeah,
just
I mean, listen, I'm down for something new.
I'm down for anything
I
different. I just need
yeah,
something to
exactly.
change.
Exactly.
now I'll
Something
say
for
that
I want to like look at myself and honestly say like there might be difference coming because right now they look awful and they don't look like they're going to change at all.
now what is our thoughts like? So they're playing New York, they're playing the Giants. Let's say they beat the Giants, but it still looks like the old Eagles. Are we like, do we feel any better, or are we still where we're at right now, where we like this
They
team is
just need to
doomed?
win. I just need to see them win. I really just need to win.
I
I don't
I
care. Look, it's
I
been like
need
this
I
all
need that
year.
30-point deficit win. And you know what's also weird though? Like I was looking at the schedule. They've beaten every fucking team besides the Niners in that are going to be in the playoffs. Like they
Yeah,
beat
they're
the
not. I
Rams, they
mean,
beat the Bucks, they beat the Vikings, they beat the Bills, they beat the Chiefs. Like how did we beat all these teams and now we're fucking crumbling? Like I just
but it's
again,
like, dude,
it
you
doesn't
you
make
were
sense.
all those games. Every single one of those games was close. It was either you
Yeah,
look
but they still
great and
found
you
a
were
way to
playing so
win. Now they
well.
can't do
Yeah,
anything.
because it's not a sustainable way because they haven't improved. Like your
It's
bullshit
like you
will only
said,
take you so
it's the
long.
Vikings. It's the
Yeah,
2022 Vikings
No, but this
2.0.
but
team is so much more
like
talented than this. That
They
they
the
are,
can't
offense,
they
which
can't
is
be
why
like
it's so
that.
frustrating that they're playing the way that they're playing and winning these games in disgusting ways when they should be winning by at least two scores. In a lot of the
yeah.
games that they've lost by one, they do play after play where it's missed opportunity, it's a turnover by Jalen, or it's a fumble by AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. Like the last couple games, they've looked horrible. Like the Cowboys game, I could not believe that Devontae Smith and AJ Brown both were giving up huge plays and had takeaways. I'm like, what's
Hmm.
going on? What's going on with this team?
Yeah,
It's just
it's
something just is not right in Philly.
Yeah, I don't. It's concerning, and it's so close to the end of the season. And I mean, I don't know. You got a couple bad teams coming up. Hopefully, you can
this
beat
is
up on them.
it's a get right month. Like
Yeah,
month of games here.
listen, Seahawks were part of that brutal stretch we penciled in.
I
You know,
They
they were
I've
were.
been
Seahawks
and
with
I
Drew
told you
Lock
this
and
on
no Witherspoon and no
every
Jamal
episode.
Adams.
I said Seattle's gonna be
But
tough.
I mean, it's you really wanted that one though, because you came out, you got crushed the last 2 weeks against teams in the playoffs. But I mean, in a weird way, if Dallas loses the Dolphins and you can win out against three subpar, below average teams, take the division,
I
see what
think
happens.
I think
Yeah,
Dallas will Dallas, and I think we'll hold on because actually
Dallas
we
going
just
Dallas.
if well I don't know this shit is always confusing, but from what I understand, if Dallas is currently in first in the NFC East, however, if we both win out, the Eagles get the East. Don't
Yeah,
ask me how
so
that makes sense, but
better division record.
something like that. I don't know, but
To be
Yeah,
fair, I
because
mean, if
the
we
thing
win
is
out,
that
only one loss in the division.
the
mm,
Cowboys lost to the Cardinals. So if we win against the Cardinals, we have isn't that how that works? We have the better
yeah.
if
Well,
it's
it's head to
tied
head, then
and
it's
we have a
East, then it's
Yeah, I think it's division. If you're going for a division, I think
conference.
it's division. Then it's strength of schedule if it's like a
Yeah,
wild card thing.
I
But
gotcha.
I don't think this
this is
team.
the
Obviously, you want a one seed, but this team they don't need
no,
any days off.
The
They
you're
one
need to
not
seed's
getting the one
fucking
over.
seed.
There's
Yeah,
no
you're
way.
not getting the one seed. The
they need
Niners
to.
are
Barring
too
like
good right
a
now.
disaster. The
Yeah.
the Niners are a very well-oiled machine, but
Well,
if one of those gears gets injured or gets put out, that team we've seen it crumble before. So barring something like that, where a traumatic injury happens, barring that, hopefully it doesn't. You never want anybody to get injured, but let's
these.
say like if CMC
To
goes
be fair,
down,
it's not a bad setup, I think, because if you think, all right, realistically, yeah, if you're going to win the division, you got to win out. So if you can ride a 3-game winning streak into the playoffs, you don't want it to buy. You want to stay hot.
That's what
The
I'm saying.
Niners look like they
Yeah.
are just beating up on everyone. They are like looking good. Maybe a week off is not something they really want now. I mean, everyone wants the week off, but they, I mean, they're gonna win the next two at least to end the season, and we'll see about the Ravens. I think the Ravens are gonna give them a real fight, but after that, they'll win out.
Yeah.
Hopefully their
they
momentum
have to.
cools, but
I think the fact that they're in San Francisco, so that definitely helps.
it's gonna be it just comes down to us. Just look better. This is you looked awful all game, and teams have just figured out this offense so bad, like so easily because it sucks. And they've been, having no issue with it all year, but now it's just like comical. Now it is running backs calling out our plays. That's
Yeah.
just how bad it is. Because it's an unexpired, boring offense that everyone has seen the entire season. Now everyone and their grandmother know what's going to happen. And it takes incredible plays by incredible players. Like truly, it's kind of almost amazing what Brian Johnson's doing with all the talent on the offense for how poorly they play and how poorly they execute really is impressive because top to bottom, there is no weakness.
This this feels like that first year we did the pod and we had the terrible Carson Wentz finale season. And this team is 10-4, and we are pissed. We are upset, rightfully so. So
Rightfully so, because we know what's ahead.
yeah,
We know what we
Yeah.
have to beat and the level of play we
realistically,
have to have in order to make a run, and we're just nowhere
realistically,
near that.
as annoyed as I am with this team, as frustrated as they are, if they can at least somewhat start righting this ship, I still think they can be anybody except for San Francisco. So theoretically, I think they could still get back to the NFC Championship game. Now, will they win? Probably not. But
Well, this is why,
we'll see.
this
You
is
never
why they
know.
have to win the division. The NFC is so weak.
Oh yeah,
You just have to win the division
yeah.
so you don't have to play the
They
Niners
need
until,
home
say, the
field
championship game.
set for San Fran. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe let San Fran get the bye. Maybe it stops their momentum. Maybe the Seahawks get tripped up by someone we're not expecting. But you have to get this division because you do not want to have to play like Dallas or in the division round or the Niners. Stay away from those two teams because they give you problems. They're easily the two best teams. I think they can beat the Lions. I'm literally not even worried about anyone else. Like who the hell knows is coming out of the wild card or the South Division. There's nothing to be afraid of.
The Lions only because they might light us up, but
their defense is trash. Their defense
is garbage.
So
that game will
but
that game will probably come down to whoever has the ball last, honestly.
Yeah. Hey, when are we going to do this? Sirianni's got to make the move now. What are we going to do? We're going to play
this is the stretch to do
hopefully win, be furious again because the offense can't do anything. And then what? You're 2 weeks from the playoffs. Are you going to switch your offense coordinator then? Just move on it. Do it. Do it something.
Or at least
this is the stretch to do it if you're going to do it.
With him.
I think it's just logical. I mean, this isn't taking Matt Patricia, who's in some kind of, I don't know, he was the equipment ball boy mixed in with a defensive personnel guy. I have no idea what he was actually doing. This is the head coach now taking over the offense that we've been running the last 3 years.
When the Eagles had been losing on this streak, like I was avoiding social media. I hated everything anyone that was shitting on us, whatever. Yesterday, I was loving all the memes because we are a joke right now. And there was one going around of like Matt Patricia with a pencil in his fucking ear holding a laminated play sheet. I'm like, what are you doing with that fucking pencil?
What are you penciling, man?
What are you penciling?
It's raining outside on top of that. It's fucking raining.
I was like, what? This team's
Hey, I'll speak to this. I'm a big fan of the pencil or pen behind the ear, just to know you have it. I've always got a pencil pen. When no glasses, always pencil pen.
I do.
I like the feeling.
I carry around pencil or a pen in the back pocket.
Also, I'm not gonna lie on Patricia. How weird was it to see him in an Eagles uniform? I like
gross,
wasn't expecting it. It was very. I did not like it. I was like, this is weird.
Yeah.
Even when I first saw him in a Lions uniform, I was like, what is he doing? Wearing that shade of blue.
I needed like a little like teaser or something first because I wasn't ready to just see Patricia and Eagles and want to root for him because I've hated him for most of his career.
Yeah.
Well.
All right, moving on to a fan base that's probably more depressed than we are. Or actually, they're probably pretty happy now. The Chargers got their fucking titty slapped by the Raiders, 63-21. Yeah, it was. I couldn't believe this game. Like the Raiders were just giving them the work, and I picked up the Raiders in fantasy because I had I had the Bills defense. I was like, yeah, they're probably gonna get shootout with Dallas. I'm like, yeah, let me pick up somebody else. They had 25 fantasy points.
Amazing,
fucking wild. But
Staley, that was
you were calling for it. Tim Staley finally got fired. All time.
That's a dead man walking. We knew it was going to happen.
I've been calling for this dude to get fired for the past 3 years, and I'm not even a Chargers fan. I hate him. I can't stand him.
Like you got to really. He's like almost the. I mean, their defense is nowhere near as talented as our offense.
He went
for a defense as a minded coach. Like he's got a lot of good players there to do nothing.
He does. Khalil Mack, like what is he, second in the league with sacks?
Like number one. We complain about the Eagles being so talented and not coming out to their potential. The Chargers are like the same boat. They are loaded and they are garbage. Like it's crazy.
I don't know what goes on with that team. If you would have, I mean, I know there's some bad teams in the league, but the Chargers low-key might have the most depressing future, even with Herbert. I mean, their salary cap's rough. They got a whole bunch of veterans. This team's ass. They're weak. They're very weak. And a lot of their good players are getting up there. I mean, I don't think you can rely on Khalil Mack leading the league in sacks or Keenan Allen to go out there and, But we'll see.
Keenan Allen's at the last of his legs.
It was
Keenan Allen. Austin Eckler looks slow. He looks bad. He's dealing with something. Too. He has to be dealing with some injury.
He's done on that team there. He's not coming back. Also, did you see I think he might have been trolling at this point, but they were down like 40 points and he got a first down. He's like, first down. Like, are you dead ass?
He never put the fire away. The fire can never go away.
I will say Stephen A. Smith was hilarious because he hopped on ESPN on Friday morning at like 9. It was like 9:40 a.m. He's like, it is 9:40 a.m. If Brandon Staley's not fired by 10 o'clock, we got a problem. And he was fired at like 9:45. That's like right on cue.
Yeah, right on time.
But yeah, that's what a mess the Chargers are. Anyways, we had the greatest show on turf, or Tim, how do you call the Vikings? Must see TV.
Must see TV always.
Went into
And Jim Crowder's
overtime
always there.
with the Bengals, who are the surprise second half team of the year, I would say, ever since Burrow went down.
Jake Browning, man, good on him. We
That's
see a
my
lot of
fantasy
backup
QB right
quarterbacks.
there.
Oh, he's killing
He's
it.
mine as well. We've seen a lot
Yes, sir.
of backups like play this year from all the injuries.
It's a weird season.
I mean, to be fair, like you got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, a decent line, Joe Mixon. You know, there's just plenty of talent there.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, Vikings
What about
again.
Sidney
come in with all
Brown's
the
little
ratings.
brother? Sidney Brown's
Yeah,
little
Chase
brother,
Brown,
man.
hell of a game. Yeah, man, they're just out there balling off. You know.
Yeah.
He's had a hell of a 2 weeks.
So Bengals won in overtime, 27-24. Tim, your bold prediction of Mike Tomlin going under 500 looks very real. Colts smacked the Steelers with Gardner Minshew, man. Love to see it. With Shane Steichen, please come back to Philly.
Please.
They won
I'd
30
go
to
pick
13.
up. Yeah, the Steelers like it's almost weird because they were kind of a train wreck.
They always
They
look okay in the beginning of the year and then they just fall apart.
Yeah, but there's a lot of rumblings, like George Pickens calling out for not blocking. They've benched their first round pick from 2 years ago, a quarterback. Like they've obviously had the whole Deontay Johnson, like he's kind of had an attitude a couple times. Like this isn't very Steeler-like. And I think Mike Tomlin gets mostly credit for like always holding the locker room together. They always fight, they're respectable. Not been the case this year.
Steelers
he won't get
breeding
field, but the season's gonna be a little work.
divas, man.
The Steelers breeding
divas.
wide receivers is completely on par. Like that is
but you know what?
That is their trademark.
They've always kept them in check, or they've been so good that their production's always been so good it didn't matter.
No, Antonio Brown, Juju, Claypool. Now we got Pickens.
Juju was fine.
You could tell Pickens was going to get attitude after a while. He wants the ball, but
yeah.
Anyways,
now he's getting plenty of balls in New England.
Yeah,
fucking ass.
The Bronco Country fell apart against the Lions, 42-17. Lions needed that. Lions needed that though.
The Broncos were turning things around, but I think we were reminded that they aren't that good of a team.
Yeah. Speaking of reminding people that they're not that good of a team, the Giants lost 24-6 to the Saints. I hate the Saints, but I loved seeing the mockery of the fight. I'm so tired of that shit. It's so stupid.
I kind of like
the whole agent thing, looking like a fucking mafia member.
Hey, credit to the agent, man. He's doing what he's doing. He's getting
for sure,
making him relevant. He's keeping the thing going. Apparently his booking fee doubled. There was some pizza place that he was supposed to do something there, and they like doubled his fee or whatever.
He went from 10,000 to 20,000.
People are weird. Dude.
Agents got to be the scumbag, man. It's what they do.
Yeah.
We got a bit of a revival here in Cleveland. The Browns beat the Bears 20-7. How about Joe Flacco? Just set
it's incredible.
He put himself in the history of
crazy.
He's the fifth quarterback. He has the fifth most yards for a quarterback in his first 3 games with a new team, and he's like 77 years old. So
yeah,
he's impressive. He's balling. I mean, I'm happy to see it.
He did throw 3 interceptions, but the 3 interceptions pretty much kept the Bears in the game. But at the same time, you got to give him credit. He did win. He did pull it out at the end.
He's given
I don't know what you can
life again.
Yeah, I don't know what you can actually expect from them. But the Browns, I'm not writing them off. They beat the 2 best teams in the NFL.
I said they beat San Fran and the Ravens. So
yeah, their defense is legit. They got some talent. I mean, we'll see what happens.
They're winning.
They've got some great defensive talent, and Joe Flacco, man. He's very serviceable, especially at this age. It's incredible what he's doing.
Yeah.
He
had this one throw.
Keep him upright with a good line.
He had this one throw to Amari Cooper. It was such a tight space. I think it was the last drive. I think it was the touchdown. Did he get a touchdown on that catch? It was really, really tight throw. He caught it and then ran. It was crazy. And then Njoku, man. Njoku's been looking awesome. He's not talked about enough, especially on my fantasy team. Love David Njoku. Ever since he got burned, his accident, he's been on fire. All pun intended.
Not really what you want to see, but
no.
Loki, did you also know? Because I saw a guy pop up that this is like a Matt Patricia. There's guys popping up all over the league that I didn't realize were still doing things. Marquise Goodwin is on the Browns. The dude, am I right thinking that? Because I saw him pop up
from the 49ers to the Eagles back to
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he had a cup of coffee with the Eagles. Remember, he's really fast.
Goodwin? You talking about Goodwin?
Is that not who? Yeah, Goodwin. Marquise
Am I
Goodwin.
think was he on this? Was he on the Seahawks
Marquise
last year?
Brown is Hollywood Brown. He's on the Cardinals. So I think you're thinking of
No,
Goodwin.
Marquise Goodwin. You got to take
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the corn out of your ear.
You said Brown.
Marquise
No,
Goodwin.
he said Marquise Goodwin.
I
He's
didn't
on
take
he's
corn out of
on the
there.
Browns.
I did not know that.
Marquise Goodwin on the Browns, not Marquise Brown on the Goodwins. Got you.
But yeah, it was just a random appearance. Like, oh, look, you're in the NFL. Didn't realize that.
Yeah.
He's an Olympian. Yeah, he's competed. Yeah, did his thing. He had a cup of coffee with the Eagles. Remember, he had someone was sick, and I forget. Then he opted out of the league or for the Corona later.
It was the COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, he used to get hurt a lot. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Elsewhere, Falcons had a chance at take the lead of the division, and they said, "Psych, let's lose to the Panthers 9-7." What a fucking game!
I hate watching Desmond Ridder throw the football, play
so
football
bad.
in a football uniform.
I hate
He's
watching
bad.
that offense, man. All right, so
bad.
now that Staley's gone, who's got the hottest seat, Rivera
Arthur
or
Smith.
Smith?
Arthur-
Yeah, I think so.
I think
Does
they're
he
both-
survive?
Rivera's
I think
already
they-
a dead man
I
walking.
think they
He
both
knows.
can.
Yeah, for sure. Well, he was.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. It was going to be a deep hole to come out of once they took on the new ownership. They're going to want their own guy.
Yeah.
But Smith, I think there's a good chance that he probably gets fired in the season if they lose another
has
one
to.
and they're out of the division.
Yeah, but they're not a good. I mean, the Chargers weren't good either, but I don't know. They'll probably let him play it out.
Falcons are a
Like,
joke. You draft Bijan Robinson 8th overall and you barely use him. Cordero Patterson scored a touchdown yesterday.
Yeah,
That's insane on Sunday. I mean,
I don't.
just
That's what I
disappeared
don't
off the
get.
face of the earth. I haven't heard of his name in weeks.
it's crazy.
If I'm the front office, I'm like, listen, Arthur, you're going to get me fired because
Listen,
people are going to start thinking, that the people I'm drafting are bust. Because Kyle Pitts is kind of falling into that category. No one wants to admit it because everyone's still living off this potential, but he's getting to that bust comparison. The fact that you took him a one pick over Jamar Chase, it doesn't get enough of a narrative. And I think it's because Arthur Smith is just crushing everyone's hopes and dreams about what this offense could be. But, what are you going to do?
The Buccaneers look surprisingly competitive. Beat the Packers 34-20. Packers are probably the most confusing team. Like some weeks they look like they could be good, then some weeks they look like dog shit. So I don't know what the hell is going on over there. But
shake and bake, man.
I was worried. So I picked up Baker Mayfield because I was like, oh, well, if Hurts can't play, I'm going to start him. Little did I fucking realize we play on Monday night. So, like, it literally doesn't matter who I pick up because Hurts has to start.
That's like elite fantasy manager right there for all the viewers. That's what you do.
But he had four tutties. Like he had
an incredible game.
Yeah, he's been playing well for them. You know who's someone I think should be on the hot seat? Saleh. The Jets, I don't care who your quarterback is. Like they've been playing like ass. 30-0 to the Dolphins.
Oh no.
Yeah,
I think the defense
I think Saleh can get another year, but like he needs to be
he deserves another year.
He deserves another year. That defense is so good and they've been playing good all year and they've fallen off because they know that they just can't win and you can't sustain wins on the back of the defense and turnovers. Offense can't stay on the field. Exactly. Like you can't expect the defense to look as good as they do, as good as they did in the first half. The second half, when they know that there's just no hope, they don't have a quarterback, they don't have an offense that can operate. And credit to Zach Wilson and all those guys. They're bad, but they also have no time back there. That offensive line is terrible.
Sucks.
This
offense. I really think even with Aaron Rodgers, they were going to struggle. These wide receivers outside of Garrett Wilson are horrendous. The offensive line stinks. Like Dalvin Cook didn't look like he's got anything left. I don't know, but yeah, no, Saleh's safe, man. Look at the defense. Look at how many players he's developed. Sauce is a stud. Quentin Williams is a stud. Quincy Williams, Whitehead, these random guys that are popping up. He's a defensive coach. Like you got to give him credit. This is basically the argument I want to make about Sirianni. Is he's an offensive coach who is letting his offense just crumble in front of his eyes with all the talent in the world.
Yeah.
No,
it's just saying this game, Chiefs beat the Patriots 27-17. The Chiefs and the Eagles are very much the same team. Both teams went to the Super Bowl, were dominant last year, and now they are a shell of themselves. So many question marks, so many weird decision making, and I don't know. But who knows?
I have no
I might
put Chiefs,
I might put money on the Chiefs and Eagles to play in the Super Bowl because it's probably
every time Kadarius Toney makes a brutal mistake, an angel gets their wings. And
it's awesome. It's
I
awesome.
told listen,
Giants fans rejoice.
listen. You keep you look up in the sky. The angels are flying all over the place because man, that tip ball interception was beautiful. I loved every second of
I loved
it.
it.
I love that he
I
came
was
out.
cheering.
He's like, yeah, the ref's job is to tell me to be that I'm
Oh
offsides.
fuck
You
out of
make
here, bro!
And then
$3.2 million, you fucking tool.
and then the memes were like, oh, you know what? It's the ref's fault. They didn't tell Kadarius Toney he's supposed to catch the ball.
Yeah,
Like, like, got him. Sit down.
it's.
Yeah, he
I'm stealing
sucks.
from my work, but to be fair, my boss never told me I couldn't.
Yeah.
It's kind of on him.
Oh yeah.
He's an interesting guy.
Texans beat the Titans 19-16 in overtime. Titans, I think, were officially eliminated from the playoffs. But hey, they've been playing tight. Mike Vrabel, is he's on the hot seat at all, or you think he's still fine?
No, he's fine.
They've
I think
been
he's all right,
mediocre for a couple years now, but
Dude, but look at their roster. Their roster
yeah, but we've
sucks.
been saying that for
They
years. They gotta.
they
I
should
actually
do a
think
better job at getting personnel.
Yeah, I think Vrabel, to be honest, actually outperforms his team pretty much every year. Like, yeah,
Every
I know they're
single
eliminated
year.
from the playoffs, but they legit have one of the worst rosters in the NFL, and he's still out there churning wins. I don't know who the GM is or if they fired one recently, but that's who you got to look at. Look at just name me a Titans draft pick you can think off the top of the head that has turned into something besides Jeffrey Simmons.
AJ Brown.
Okay, yeah, and instead of signing him to a contract, they traded him.
They
That
traded
was a
him.
great decision. Like
Uh,
you name a draft pick, like they just can't draft or develop. They're relying on guys like Derrick Henry, and it's not going to take you so long.
I mean,
You
Will
guys
Levis looks
remember?
decent. He's definitely looks
Like
like a
what?
rookie, but he looks like he
Yeah,
can
I
be
mean,
better.
but you know what he would appreciate having someone like AJ Brown on there to throw to, or
That's
what
true.
happened to Traylon Burks? This
I
guy
was
that was
about to
supposed to
say,
be
you
the
remember
new.
Traylon Burks?
Yeah, what happened to him? Where he was supposed to take over for AJ Brown. That was supposed to be the win-win deal. Oh, we get AJ
That was
Brown,
the
but they get
pick that
Traylon
they got
Burks.
from the Eagles. Yeah,
Yeah,
and he has done nothing.
no, Vrabel's definitely safe. That team is so rough. If you look for that roster, they stink.
And
Top to
then
bottom.
run through a couple more here. 49ers. Cardinals gave 49ers a little bit of trouble, but 49ers put away 45-29.
Yeah. Defense let up a little bit in the beginning.
Yeah, a little bit. Rams beat the Commanders 28-20. They were up like 20-0, and they let Washington sneak back in the game. But
That game was hilarious.
yeah,
That last sequence when they scored that last touchdown, it took them like they were at the 1 yard line, I think, and they got 3 minutes or 2.5 minutes off the clock before they scored a touchdown on fourth down. It was awesome. It was perfect.
yeah.
I'm like, if this was Ron Rivera's swan song. The last game to make his case for being fired was this one right here.
And
Yeah, that one's a tough one.
we had our shining on Sunday because the Bills destroyed the Cowboys 31-10. They looked like they couldn't do anything. I mean, when you score 31 points and Josh Allen only has 90 passing yards, something's going right. You just James Cook just ran down their throats. Crazy.
Unstoppable. It was great. Loved it. Loved every second of it.
Ravens beat the Jags on Sunday night 23-7. The Jaguars really shot themselves in the foot like 40 times. Like they could have had 30, 40 points in this game. They just kept giving the ball away or making poor play decisions. Like, man, that end of the second quarter, right before half. Beautiful pass. They caught it, no timeouts, right at the 5 yard line, whatever. Instead of running up and spiking it or like throwing it out of bounds, Trevor Lawrence just threw like a fucking slant. Like,
yeah, I don't get that one.
What are you doing?
It was a disaster.
So confused.
That, and I think Calvin Ridley caught that ball in the end zone. I thought that was a touchdown, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. But
Lawrence has really got to start refining his game. He throws way too many interceptions. Like you see the talent, and he throws so many interceptions that shouldn't happen. He makes idiotic plays like that, and the guy fumbles the ball constantly. He had a bad fumble during that game.
He's like
just dropped the ball.
Like the most fumble. He has the most turnovers.
He somehow juked the ball out of his hands. He just juked himself. He needs to clean it up. Yeah, I mean, I think that he's got time, but you'd like to see him a little bit further in his development here.
Yeah, and then of course Monday night the Eagles fell to the Seahawks 2017 on some bullshit last minute magic by Drew Lock. So that is a wrap on week 15. We are now week 16. We have 3 weeks left of the regular season. I can't believe it's coming to an end. Tim, who are our studs and duds, and are they all Eagles players on the dud list?
Well, so I usually like to keep the Eagles off because obviously we spend like 30 minutes of every episode to talk
course.
about them. So I usually get most of my venom out of the way then, or my praise. This one,
Mhm.
this one, there was absolutely no way. There was absolutely no way. I'll put him at 3 just because we've already covered him so much.
Just the entire roster.
But yeah, just I mean, when you're giving up every catch on the game-winning drive and you look slow as shit and you're just getting torched by every wide receiver on their team, that's what
Mhm.
really baffles me. It's not like we just put him on island on their best player and he's just getting like crushed. Like who's the guy that I was thinking on the top of my head? The guy who had like gave up 4 touchdowns to Calvin Johnson all those years ago. Some Randy J backup cornerback we had. Um, Eric Rowe, I think, some
Oh,
random
Eric
fifth round
Rowe,
pick and
yeah.
everything. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
you can understand that, but no, no, no. This was every wide receiver they had against the guy you pay a lot of money to. So third dud, and this one's obvious. We're going with James Bradbury, and a guy
Mm.
honestly should not see the field anymore. Hide him, do whatever you want, put him on the backup tight end. I don't
Hide,
care, but get him off the
hide him.
field.
Where you
Hide
gonna? He said
him.
hide him. Lock him in the
Just keep
shed.
him in whatever dark alley you were hiding Matt Patricia in all year that no one remembered he was on the team. Just put him there.
Oh man. All right.
So
Who you
I
yeah,
got
love
for
it.
him?
kicking off the dud list, we're going with James Bradbury, who honestly should be one, but I didn't want to waste too much time. Number 2, we're gonna go with yeah, yeah, we'll say similar to Bradbury, another big name, big guy who's been pretty incredible his entire career. It's actually almost ridiculous to see this stat line and think this is that player. 16 carries for 9 yards. That's less than 1 yard per carry.
The fuck?
Just
The
outrageous. And
record.
if you think that's bad, just factor in we're going to throw 4 receptions for 1 yard on it. The guy touched the ball 20 times and had 10 yards. It's actually insane. And it's hard to really blame like Vrabel for that, but Derrick Henry to have that kind of stat line at any point in his career, Derrick Henry and a Walker, I think could do better than that. Like it's jaw on the floor kind of bad. With a player of his caliber, just really ridiculous. So yeah, Derrick Henry with his 20 yards from scrimmage on 20 to, on or 10 yards of scrimmage from 20 touches is our second dud. Really, really tough state that they're in.
Yeah.
First, this one again is very obvious. Like Bradbury, Dakota, as you know, I always say best way to get on the stud list is if you lose your job. This one has been coming for a long time, and when you give up 63 points to a team that was shut out the week before with a backup quarterback, a team that fired their coach like 4 weeks ago, and they went and just dropped everything they had on you. Hard to really write home on that one. So Mr. Brandon Staley, who honestly should have just gotten fired after that playoff debacle,
Oh
pretty much
yeah.
wasted the whole season this year.
24-0.
Yeah, so Brandon Staley, we knew this was coming, and I can't say I'm surprised he got fired in the season. So he's our number 1 dud this
I
week.
like that you've highlighted both times we had in-season fires. They both were the number 1 duds. Nice
No,
work.
it's easy. Listen, I don't mean to be the guy that's peeing on your grave, but if you lose your job, you're on the dud list for sure. And listen, this was a hefty contender week of duds and studs.
Right.
I mean, most of the Eagles could have been on it. McManus missed a couple kicks. Arthur Smith himself could have been on it. Mekhi Becton gave up 3.5 sacks. And shush, the couple of the hits that Bradley Chubb laid on Zach Wilson, I really felt bad. I felt bad for Zach Wilson a lot this year, but whew, he got decapitated on like 2 of them. Mekhi Becton owes that guy something hefty. The quarterbacks normally buy their linemen Christmas gifts. I
Yeah.
hope Mekhi Becton is buying Zach Wilson something for Christmas.
Massage chair probably.
Something.
Xanax or codeine or
Painkillers.
Oxycontin, get
Oh,
him
you're
with that.
okay. You're a little darker than I was. Okay.
Did you see how
Anyways,
hard he was getting crushed?
yeah,
He was getting wrecked all
there's a
day.
lot of
He was getting
vicious
ruined.
hits.
I didn't think he was going to come back after that
Prescott was
second hit.
getting his,
I
his
couldn't believe
ass
it.
thrown around too.
It's not a good
Yeah, but
look, but
we love to see that.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
no one gets
so-
hurt, but we
Who
love
was-
to see
who
see
was-
Cowboys get beat on.
Yeah, like
we're
Ferguson.
not
fuck
against
that
it.
bitch.
We don't encourage it, but we're not against it.
Like if
All right, so
someone
moving-
at some point just lays out Jake Ferguson like Dakota just said.
I said to
wouldn't be
Mike,
mad at it.
he's got to have one of the most punchable faces in the league. I can't stand that man.
Can't stand him.
He's really growing to be a nuisance.
Yeah.
Alrighty, let's go back to the positive stuff. So this guy, he's a rookie. It's actually
Did we
come
ever
on
have
pretty
positive
well.
Stuff?
Yeah. Honestly, this whole offense just kind of went off completely. You got the quarterback throwing 5 touchdowns. You had 2 running backs that nearly had 100 yards rushing each. You had, one average 9. Gibbs had 9 yards per carry. Montgomery had 5. But I'm going to go with the rookie here, who had a big old game. 5 receptions, 56 yard. found the end zone 3 different times, and he was just kind of taking over, playing bully ball against the Broncos. So we're gonna go with the rookie Sam Laporta as our
It's my
It's had
tight
a good
end one
year.
fourth
right
stud
there.
right here.
It's had a good
He
year.
is he's looks pretty good. He even makes you think, there was a couple tight ends drafted pretty high. Kincaid obviously went in the first, Michael
DK's
Meyer down
good
in
too, though, I
Oakland.
think.
Yeah, but Sam Laporta, man, he looks like the best out of all of them.
I agree. I agree.
I love him.
Next one I'm going to go with. This guy is we touched on a little bit, had a hell of a game, and actually with the Falcons losing, it was monumental. 22 of 28, very accurate, 381 yards and 4 tutties. Very, very efficient, big plays in a game they needed to win. Baker Mayfield coming in our
Yeah.
second stud here.
Yeah.
I mean, he was, man, only missed 6 passes. He had 381 yards, nearly 400 yards with 4 tutties. I mean, I can't, what else do you want from him? That's that was a very impressive performance that he put up there and a big old win.
The Bucks have
Beating
been
Packers by
decent.
14.
Yeah, he put up
He's
his
given
best passer
the,
rating.
you see some other really bad quarterbacks in the league. He's really outperformed, I think, your expectations you had for him going into the
I think
season.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Alrighty. Next stud, our number one stud this week. A guy who, honestly, if I told you his team put up 31 points, you would have thought easy, like, oh my God, Stephon Diggs must have had 200 yards receiving. Josh Allen must have had 6 touchdowns himself. But it was not the case. There was no passing game really needed. Josh Allen threw 15 passes. He only completed 7 of them.
Crazy.
In 94 yards. He really didn't have that great of a game. No one in the receiving had over 50 yards receiving, and James Cook had 42 himself. So I'm going to go with our number one stud, James Cook, with 179 yards on the ground with 7.2 yard per carry average, 2 tutties, one through the air with 42 yards through the air, over 220 yards from scrimmage. Very good game for him. And I think one of those games that you didn't realize how good it was until you actually look back in the stats. And that game was a blowout. It was over by half. But James Cook, our number one stud this week.
All right. Yeah, very, very deserving for him. All right,
Agreed.
next segment we're gonna hop into the cooked or simmered. So Mike, if you're not familiar with this, I'll say a team. You got Tim and yourself are gonna tell me, is this team cooked? Like they're done, they're not making playoffs, or are they simmering? They're about to get a little warm, they still got a shot here. So we're gonna start off the NFC. This team's lost a couple games, they're looking a little rough. Don't know about the whole quarterback situation now. The Vikings are 7-7, but they hold the 6th seed right now in the NFC. Are they cooked or are they simmering?
I'll let the guest start us off.
Cooked.
They're cooked. Oh, one word.
cooked.
He's done. They
Yeah,
cooked.
they're cooked. They're cooked, man. I mean, they've got. I think that if you're a Vikings fan, you look to the future. You've got great offensive pieces. You got Jordan Addison. He's been sensational as a rookie. You got Justin Jefferson, arguably one of the best receivers in the league. You got T.J. Hawkinson, one of the best tight ends in the league. You have a question marks at running backs for a few weeks, but Ty Chandler has really been taking for him. Taking that RB1 spot from an atrocious Alexander Madison. And then Cam Akers. You guys remember Cam Akers? Got traded to the Vikings,
Yeah.
played like 2 games, and then tore his Achilles again.
Oh, Jesus.
So that's pretty. This has been a big year for Achilles injuries, by the way, in the NFL. It's crazy. I think
Don't
like
ever
7 players.
Don't ever be a running back for the Baltimore Ravens. That's all I gotta say.
Baltimore Ravens too. Yeah, but
It's outrageous.
you got Nick Mullins, a quarterback, a guy that you can probably count on to win you a game or two. But besides that, really not much there. They might make the playoffs again with that 6 or 7 seed, but besides that, I don't see them going past the wild card round. So I'm gonna go ahead and confidently say Cook.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on what your expectations are. I'm going to say simmering just because, listen, you're tied with the Buccaneers, the Saints, the Rams, the Seahawks, all at 7-7. I don't think any of those teams are good. I'm not saying that the Vikings are good, but Jefferson's probably going to come back soon. Addison's been great. Hawkinson, like you touched on. I think they can make the playoffs. I definitely don't think they're going any further than that. But, if they can make the playoffs when your starting quarterback who's out for the season, your best player barely played, that's definitely a win. That's a good season right there.
Yeah, I'd say if we're talking about playoffs, then I'd say simmering. I think they could still make the playoffs, but overall, this year for them definitely cooked. I mean, defensively, even didn't even talk about the defense. They have no one. But Brian Flores, they're the highest blitzing team in the NFL, and it's working. Throwing the kitchen sink is working. They're doing okay defensively, exceeding expectations. So I think that they make the playoffs again, but don't make it past the wild card.
All right, fair. Staying in the NFC, we have Tampa 7-7, Minnesota, like we said, 7-7, LA Rams 7-7, Seattle Seahawks now 7-7, and the New Orleans Saints 7-7, currently in the ninth seed, so they're 2 spots out of the wild card, but they have the same record as all the wild card teams, well, except for Eagles, Dallas. Are they cooked or are they simmering?
Saints, honestly, because I've seen Derek Carr play most of the season, I think they're cooked. They suck. They're miserable.
Yes.
But he's so ass. He's so ass. I know he he had a good game this week, but like the Giants suck. Tommy DeVito and his, Tony Soprano agent, I think distracted us, but they suck. I don't think the Saints are any good either. The defense has let me. I've betted on the Saints a couple times, thinking that their defense would alone win a couple games, and it has not happened. I think Derek Carr is going to brutally kill them. And I don't know. Maybe they got a bad taste in mouth because they burnt me on most of my bets and parlays this year. But I'm not buying the Saints.
That was your first mistake.
I agree. I think that they are charred barbecue chicken, barbecue brisket, the deepest form of cooked you could be. I hate watching Derek Carr play football. I think he's a great guy, nice guy, but terrible. I love Chris Olave so much, and I hate to see him getting wasted in New Orleans the way he is. I am also a huge Jameis Winston fan, as Dakota knows. I love Jameis Winston.
Makes no
so
sense.
Every opportunity that I get to see him throw 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, it's a great day. So I'm just like, listen, put Jameis in, man. Let him cook a little bit. You guys. He's
entertaining, that's for sure.
He's entertaining. He's a funny guy. I love watching him do anything. He's my favorite person on that team. But Alvin Kamara is still a stud. He's still a great player. He's having a pretty decent season since he's come back.
Yeah.
But yeah, my biggest qualm with the Saints is you got talented players, but you're wasting their potential, specifically with Chris Olave. He's such a great receiver, and he's just being wasted on that offense.
I'm more optimistic about a Nick Mullins-led Vikings offense than I am a Derek Carr-led Saints offense.
I agree. I have to agree.
Interesting. Well, so that's 2 7-7 teams that we both determined are cooked. So one more 7-7 team for you here. They looked like they were going to be simmering on the up and Adams here, but now they sit at 11th in the AFC. They are behind the 9-5 Browns, the 8-6 Bengals, the 8-6 Colts, the 8-6 Texans, the 8-6 Bills. So it's not looking great for them. The 7-7 Denver Broncos. Are they cooked or are they simmering?
I'll let Mike start us off here.
They are so cooked. They are cooked beyond belief.
Yeah.
Like that team is bad. Like I think that they've exceeded expectations because to see how they started off the season and the year. They started off really poorly. They kind of seemed like they were turning things around in the stretch here, but we saw that last game against the Raiders. They just got no, not against the Raiders, I'm sorry. They played
the Lions.
The Lions against the Lions. They just got bullied in every facet of football. And it was really funny. I think that they have hope in terms of the future, but I really do not think that Russell Wilson is the guy. And it's going to be interesting to see how they handle that next year, whether they try to move off of him. But I don't see how you do that with that contract. No one's going to pay him that money in the league at the level that he's playing. So they might be stuck with him, and they might just have to ride this out until it becomes something that they can afford to walk away from.
Yeah, I have to agree. They're definitely cooked. I mean, they were playing really well for that spell there, but their biggest problem is what Mike said. Like their defense was playing really well in that winning streak. Russell is still hurting this team. Like Sean Payton went and was screaming at him. He looked like a girlfriend that saw some nude picture pop up on the boyfriend's phone. Like he was pissed, and it's just like Russell's got the same problem. He's not helping this offense. You at times wonder, like, if they just brought someone else in with all these weapons, what would they do? But no, they're especially in a brutal AFC. No way.
All right. Well, so that is our cooked and simmered segment. Now we're going to jump into game picks to round out this episode here. Tim, we had a nice rebound. I mean, I did. I flipped my entire record. I went 12-4 this week. You went 11-5, and then our guest Acor went 10-6. So a nice little 1, 2, 3 there. And so this week, Mike, since you're a guest on this episode, you will be game picking again. This is your third week, so pressure's on. Pressure's on for sure. Starting off, we have Thursday night Rams at this, or excuse me, Saints at the Rams. I'm going to go with the Rams on this one.
I mean, if they're me and Mike, put them through a 350 roast at 100 and at 20 minutes. There's no way I can pick the Saints. I'm taking unless Derek Carr's not showing up. I'm taking the Rams.
All right. Then we have two Saturday games this week. Bengals at the Steelers, 4:30 p.m. game. I think we know who everyone's taking here.
I'm going with my guy, Jake Browning, to take me to the finals against you. Hopefully he helps me kick your ass this week and catapult me into the championship finals.
Doubtful.
For fantasy.
Doubtful.
Listen, I've been pretty cold on my preseason predictions the last couple of years, with the Panthers not making the playoffs that one year, and Joe Burrow and the Bengals not coming anywhere near an MVP or Super Bowl. So I need Mike Tomlin to finish below 500. So I'm going Bengals, baby.
You said the Panthers were making the playoffs.
I don't know if it was this year. I think it was last year, but either or, it did not work out well for me.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I'm taking the Bengals. Bills at the Chargers, Saturday at 8:00. Bills.
I mean, listen, we've seen some good we've seen good bounce backs when they fire coaches.
All the Chargers, pick them. Fucking pick them.
Well, no. The Bills are on one right now. They're hot. They're one of those. Listen, every year you get a team that's better than their record, and they get hot at the right time, and you do not want to see them in the playoffs. And that's the Bills. And I think they're going to crush the Chargers.
All right.
Bills.
Sunday, 1:00. Commanders at the Jets. This is a fucking coin
The mid-bowl.
Mid-bowl.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, a nice offense versus a nice defense, but I think the defense is better. I'm taking the Jets.
Mike?
Give me the commies. Left hand up.
I'm all right. Relax. I'm also taking the Commanders. I think they've been losing a lot lately. I think they'll get a dub here. Lions at the Vikings. This is my upset of the week. I'm taking the Vikings.
I don't know. Not at this point. The Lions are pretty locked in.
That's why it's called an upset.
I don't see, like, I mean, I was feeling the Vikings a little bit, but the Lions look like they're going to put up 40 points. And I don't think Nick Mullins is matching that. I'll take the Lions.
Yeah, anytime Jared Goff is playing in a dome, I'm taking Jared Goff. Lions.
Fair enough. Browns at the Texans. Not sure if Stroud's going to play, so it might be Case Keenum again. But regardless, I'm taking Cleveland.
I mean, two teams going in two different directions. The Texans look like they're slipping, and at this point, you're almost going to be disappointed if they don't make the playoffs, which would be outlandish to think before the season started. I'll ride with Joe Flacco on that defense for the Browns.
Yep, I'm going with Browns.
All right. Packers at the Panthers. I think I'm taking Packers here.
I'm tempted. I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty tempted.
Do it. Fucking do it.
I'm rolling with them. They're going to save me because I picked them to be in the playoffs that one year. The Packers are ass. The Panthers are ass too, but they got a little mojo.
More ass.
Give me Carolina.
Mike?
Give me the Packers.
All right. Next is Seattle at Tennessee. Tennessee's real. I'm taking Seattle. They're hot.
Yeah, I mean, I'll really look in the mirror and hate myself if the Seahawks go and lose to the Titans the next week after they beat us. So I'll take the Seahawks.
I can't seriously take the Titans in this game. So yeah, Seahawks.
No.
Colts of the Falcons.
Colts. Falcons suck. Arthur Smith could get fired. If he drops this game, the seat will be hot.
Yeah, I'm taking Colts.
Yeah. I'm riding with my guy, Coach of the Year, Shane Steichen.
Miss you.
Oh, I miss him so
Jags,
much.
Jags at the Bucks. This is a get right game, as Tim likes to call it. Bucks are good, but Jags will win.
I don't know, man. I would not like this matchup on the Jags. I think the Bucks are finding their way. Baker comes off a huge game like that. I don't think he's going to fall on his face. The Jags still don't look like a team I'm scared of, so I'll take the Bucks.
Yeah, man, I gotta go with the Jags here. This feels like a must win for the Jags. They have to win this game.
All right, we got 6 games and a minute and a half to get through this. So quick fires. Cowboys, Dolphins. I'm going Dolphins.
Miami, baby. I don't care if I think they're going to win or not. I'm not picking the Cowboys.
Miami. Never picking the Cowboys ever.
Absolutely not.
Cardinals at the Bears.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. How is
Quick
that
fire.
not on TV?
Quick fire, Tim.
Give me the Bears.
Yeah,
Chicago Bears.
Bears. Patriots at the Broncos.
Another mid-off.
Yeah. Russell Wilson's not losing this one. I'm going with the Broncos.
Broncos. Broncos country. Let's hide.
Let's hide. Chiefs at the Raiders.
This is a get-right game because they haven't looked very good the last couple weeks. Chiefs.
I'm going with the Chiefs. In
I'm
Arrowhead. Yeah.
very, very tempted to take the Raiders because they.
Oh, please do. I took the Panthers. Go ahead.
No, I'm taking the Chiefs. Eagles, Giants, go Birds. Fuck the Giants.
Go Birds. My Christmas is going to be ruined.
Birds. Go Birds.
And then Monday night, well, actually, there's two. So Eagles, Giants play Christmas, and then Ravens, 49ers. Christmas, 8 o'clock. Fuck the Niners. I hate them. I hate their fan base. Go Baltimore.
Yeah, but you know what? The Niners look like they're on a tear. There is
I
no
don't care.
weakness. I'm
I don't
taking the
care.
Niners.
Give me the Ravens. Ravens flock.
All
Let's
right.
get it.
Can I
All right,
change my
gentlemen.
pick? I'm not buying the Panthers. Can I change that one?
Nope, too late. Goodbye.
I had thought about it. I was like, what am I thinking?
Well, guys, this was so much fun, man. Thank you for having me on. It's always a
appreciate
treat,
you,
man.
Mike.
I'm on here anytime you guys need me.
All right. Cheers, everyone. Have a good night.